everybody, and welcome to the Elector Smart Influencer Marketing Forum. And we're really happy and pleased to see so many people attending. B2B influencer marketing has been building on the back of B2C marketing, and what we'd like to do here today is show you a few B2B influencers and also some people who are using B2B influencers to show you what's possible, what's going on, and how you can engage with those people. We've also got Great Scott on this side of myself, yeah? So Great Scott is well known for his in-depth electronics tutorials. He has a massive following on YouTube. He does lots of DIY projects, and they're really good at showing how people can take an idea, turn it into an electronic circuit, build it onto a circuit board, and then get it running and debugging, and encouraging people, maybe in the younger generation, to actually get interested in this industry. But also those who have been around for a long time, I think they learn a lot from your tutorials and your experiences, and maybe the odd failure that pops up as well, because that has to be integrated as well. On my other side, we've got Max Imagination. Max is a creative and has an artistic approach to his projects. We've seen a little drone flying around the Elector booth in the last couple of days, which looks really good. And he really likes to blend engineering with innovation. He does lots of fun projects, 3D gadgets and robots, and you'll find him on YouTube as well. Then on my far right, we have DIY Chris. Now, DIY Chris is a engineer. He works in engineering on a daily basis, and on the side, he's also doing his videos as well, showing people how to develop advanced electronics topics, does step-by-step guides on LED displays and also on CNC machines. And he's really out there trying to encourage beginners to get into this amazing, incredible industry, which we've spent the last 4 days reviewing here in 18 magnificent halls in Munich. And if you haven't loved this, I don't know. This is the thing that makes all our hearts race. And the other thing is we are doing a soldering competition with you, aren't we, as well, here at Electronic 2024. And you can find him on Instagram. So another social media platform for him. On my far left, we've got Tristam Williams. He's an Elector editor and also a content creator from South Africa. And you've been, like myself, a long-term reader of Elector. And it's thanks to Elector and the Elector magazine that people like Brian and myself got into the industry in the first place and maintained their interest. And that was really, the way we were influenced as youngsters to take an interest as well. So that's a little bit from Brian. And on my left-hand side, we have Simon Gull from PCBWay. PCBWay is the sponsor of this forum. He's the marketing supervisor and customer experience manager there, and he's actually using B2B influencers as part of their marketing undertaking. And so we've got him here as well to provide you with some ideas as to how you reach out to these people, how you can work with them, and what works. Now, before I kick off asking my questions for our influencers, the first thing I wanted to do was to explain to you why B2B influencing is so important. Now, B2B influencing and influencing in general, if we listen to the traditional media, everybody's talking about Gen Z, and then after Gen Z comes Gen Alpha. The important thing to remember about Gen Z, they are 28 years old today. They are working. They are at your customers, and they are increasingly becoming technical decision makers. These people spend at least an hour watching some sort of video content on a daily basis. And they're doing this on platforms like TikTok and Instagram. They're also going onto YouTube. Their idea of search is to go onto TikTok. They're not going to Google for search. They're going to TikTok for search. They're going to Instagram and social and YouTube for search as well. So what this means is obviously video is an intrinsic part of their experience. The other thing is people I think there's a generational gap, and when you read research, this is also research that I've been doing and from various books I've been reading on the topic as well. You get a feeling that people feel through the generational gap, millennials, boomers, etc. So, they're always on their phones, they're not interested in the world around them. That is not the case. For Gen Z, the feeling generally, and the research seems to show, is that a Gen Z person feels that the digital world and the online world through their phone is as real as sitting here with you. And there is no difference for them. Sitting here and having a conversation, that's real. Sitting on a phone and sort of participating in a community through video, through chat, that is real as well. So there aren't two separate worlds. It is all one thing altogether. Now, 40% of Gen Z say that they are in some way encouraged by influencers to make some sort of decision, whether it's a purchasing decision or a decision to go out or choose to follow somebody. So they are feeling that the information they're getting is contributing to their life and helping them to make decisions that they feel positive about. But the other thing is they're not just a fly-by-night type of generation either. Yes, they'll sit there and flick through 100 videos in an hour while they're watching the television and got something YouTube up on their iPad. However, they're also interested in long-form content. So short-form content that we see on TikTok and that we see on Instagram, that can be an entry point when we gain their trust, when we gain their interest, to drive them to longer-form content such as blog posts, such as trade articles and white papers and other things like that. So that's a little background for research for those of you that maybe were trying to understand, okay, so where does all this fit in and what's behind all of this? We're now going to turn to our influencing team and to our influencer users as well to ask them some questions. And as we work through this, please feel free to collect your questions, because at the end we'd like to open it up to everybody and give you an opportunity to maybe ask some of the questions that you have either directly to our influencer users, or us as a media team. So we're going to kick off. I'm going to start with you first, DIY Chris. So you work with various companies already, as we've said, as an influencer. You build what they're doing into your projects. How do you ensure that your collaboration still allows you to be authentic and technical, which is obviously something that's important for the people who are watching as engineers? They want to hear the truth still.
Yeah, actually, that's a very great question, and it's more about how to find the appropriate content that matches who's looking for that content, because it's very, very delicate to provide what's suitable for the audience if you are not in the right platform. Going from a place to another, like Instagram to TikTok to YouTube, you will find different type of people. So the content, maybe you spread it here and there, it gets you insights, good insights in some platforms, but not the desired insights in a different platform. But I still agree at the point that collaboration could push this forward, because if you fulfill what's requested, as long as it matches what you are providing for your followers, then you will still up to date whatever happened and whatever generation comes. But I believe that with the Gen Z or Generation Z, the biggest struggle is with human resource people.
Yeah.
It's a big struggle to know how to deal with the Gen Z. Because you need to show some specific behavior when talking and when acting with a Gen Z, because they are so sensitive, and you need to find the appropriate way to deal with them. Other way, they will block any communication, and that's the same thing for the social media.
Yeah.
So if you are pushing like content that mainly technical, you will not get attention from them. So you need to adapt your style based on their preferences, and you need to get integrated with Gen Z. And I believe that the best source to learn how this generation is acting is from students.
Yeah.
The students are for me, the students are the main source of information, because they are searching every time. So getting contact with the students will keep you up to date. You will learn from them technical things, and you will learn from them the behavior way. And then you will find the way to adapt your content style, whatever is the platform, you adapt your content style based on that specific required behavior from Gen Z people. Yeah.
Super. I'm going to bring in Max Imagination here as well. You've done some collaborations with various electronics vendors, PCB vendors, and things like that. How do you maintain that balance between obviously accepting some remuneration for the work you do, but at the same time staying authentic and making sure that you're showing real technical progress and the reality of engineering?
Yeah, well, I don't generally find that it's good to open up too many technical specifications in video ads, video integrations, especially when you're wanting to deliver exactly what that person clicked on, right? So you don't want to bombard them with a lot of technical jargon and stuff. It's really appealing to their interest. It's about smoothly blending in the integration because, of course, relevancy is very important, involving the thing that is something that they came to click on. So yeah, I suggest that keeping out a lot of the technical stuff, but rather just the benefits, highlighting the benefits, and really ensuring that there's a connection there.
Yeah. Great, Scott. I know that you've worked with Electronica in the past as well. I mean, you're combining their coils, I think, in some of those applications that you've been doing into an application. How do you make sure that you're not sort of shoehorning a coil into something and then it doesn't look like trustworthy and authentic?
So the way I do it with sponsorships is just keep it real. I would simply define it like that. I basically have my video idea list, which I come up during my life. I love to tackle everyday problems, solving that in creative ways, and then basically teaching people along the way the electronics. So I think that's the best way to teach, and people really dig that. And what I try to do with the sponsorships is basically integrate them naturally. Like with Electronic, of course, it's a bit difficult because their components are very specialized. So finding the proper video idea is oftentimes not that simple. But for example, with the small coils you mentioned, I had another board from a Chinese website, AliExpress. I think some people are familiar with it. And it was really awesome, the IC. And I thought, but it was a big board and really didn't fit inside small electronics, but it was made for portable applications. So I said, okay, I would love to make this smaller. I would love to design my own board around this IC, and that's where the coils from Electronic really come into play because they are this small. So it was a perfect fit. Like I would have used a smaller coil anyway. So it just goes together naturally.
Yeah.
And then the idea came, and we designed the board. Everything worked out fine. It was awesome, and in the end we even got a follow-up video because then the topic comes of EMC, electromagnetic compatibility, just seeing how the new board performs, and along the way, of course, teaching people a bit about EMC, what are the guidelines, what are you allowed to do, how do they measure it. So it's always a thing for me of learning as well. Yeah. I learn along the way. For example, EMC is such a big topic. I had no idea. I had EMC experts who helped me, and I then basically translated that to a bit more beginner-friendly language that everyone gets, even me. And that's basically how it all comes together nicely and worked out great so far.
Now, I think that's the key thing that we're seeing there is this, there's obviously an authenticity around engineers. Their audience have recognized them as engineers and trust them because they know that they're participating in engineering activities. When there's mistakes there, that they still see the mistakes. We're not trying to hide that. And they're also trying to build in your sponsorship opportunities in an authentic way to projects and content you would be creating anyway. I'm going to come over to Brian quickly. Now, we grew up in a different era with more Commodore 64 than YouTube. You've been working with influencers of late more and more, and you've seen how Elector has, built on a traditional platform with a print magazine. Then we've moved to web content and moved with the times. How are you feeling about the B2B influencer or working with these partners, and what have you seen?
Well, not only at Elector, but in previous career experience, I've seen a tendency for people to say, how do I reach millennials, or how do I reach Gen X? And I just don't see a separate circle here, and that's the cutoff. There's a huge overlap. For example, I'm 51, my daughter's 13. There's a huge overlap in that Venn diagram of TV shows she watches. She listens to 80s music. I watch her latest shows sometimes. Okay, there's a lot I won't do. But we're adults here. Max, you don't mind if I say your age, do you?
No, no problem.
Okay, so he's 18. I'm 51.
19, let me correct you.
Happy birthday. And we had a great show together. We were soldering together, and so I don't see like the strange young generation. How do I deal with them? But it is good. I mean, if you were born the day Electro started, you'd be retired now. So we've got a long tradition, but we've also got new blood coming in, and it's keeping it exciting and energized. So I'm excited about that.
Fantastic. So let's come to somebody who makes use of these influencing services that are there and binds them into B2B marketing programs. Now, Simon, you've worked with some of the people here on stage, and I'm sure you've worked with lots of other people as well. How do you, I mean, it's very important, obviously, at the same time for you, if you work with a magazine and place an advert, there's a certain level and standard of expectation of quality and brand support and everything else. With influencers, how do you maintain that alignment with your brand and make sure your technical messaging also comes across in that relationship?
Yes, at PCBWay, we prioritized working with influencers who have a deeper understanding of electronics and also passionate about it. It's very important, and it will align with our brand and company values. And we also will have a thorough review of their YouTube channel. It's important to have check their own content, own style, and expertise.
Yeah.
And for PCBWay, it's important to follow the influencer's style, and we won't affect their own style or expertise. And yes, we would give enough creative freedom for the influencers to make their own content, and we won't to put too strong advertisement content in that materials. That's our style to working with influencers.
Yeah. Now, I think when we look at some of the B2C campaigns that are promoted and talked about, they're talking about millions of followers and $1 million for a single Instagram post. In your field as a B2B marketer, what's more important? Is it followers or engagement, or what other measurement points are you using?
Numbers are very important, but I think the high quality engagement is vital for our collaborations. We want to involve to put our products or services in the engaging and creative way to attract people to watch the video content itself, to learn something about electronics, to know something new, to know the trends, to start something via the videos. I think that's the most important, that we can convey something value that's also important to us. So we would always like to encourage our the influencer we work with to be more creative. I stay creative. I remember that words. And yes, for sponsors of the YouTubers, we also want to stay creative, and we want to be supportive for the enthusiasts, makers, students. We also offer some different kind of sponsorship for students also. So we want to encourage them to make something new, to make something different. We encourage to more young people, young generation, to create something, some content valuable. Yeah.
Now, an important question going through many of the B2B marketing minds in this forum will be, how do we actually then measure the effectiveness of working with influencers? So do you have any sort of measurement points that you include to make sure you're getting value for money for your investment?
Yes, the most important metric is video views, I think. and also the the content. If the content is valuable or that is interesting by a lot of people, and that's important for us to value if it was some money, something like that. And yes, most of time if the influencers create something regarding electronics, we would always like to sponsor that kind of video.
Yep.
Also, for some influencers related to DIY tech, we would also would like to sponsor that kind of video too, because the different kind of electronics may also needs PCBs in different kind of needs. So yes, that's a main consider for us.
Brian, I'm going to come back to you because we've interviewed all of these influencers over the last couple of years, and we've actually done some projects, so we've actually encouraged them to do some influencing for us as well. My question for you is hidden here on one of these cards. We have a huge Elector community. What's been the community response to working with the influencers?
Well, we have a loyal bunch of viewers. Every time we do a show, we get new ones, but there's the same faces you see all the time, and it's clearly engaging for them to see DIY guy Chris and Great Scott and Max Imagination. And, I think it's a beneficial relationship because your audiences get to find out who Elector is, and Elector gets to find out who you are. And I think our viewers benefit a lot from the interesting stuff that you guys do online. So I think it is good to use a business jargon, synergistic, if you want.
Yeah, lovely.
And it works for me. I think it works for our audience too.
Yeah, so I'm just, come to you as well, Great Scott.
To be honest, I had no idea Electro was a thing before they reached out to me. And I never knew there was an electronics magazine like that. And I read it, and now I had a subscription for like 4 or 5 years. Never regretted it. So it's important because it's important to get the message out. In this case, it was an email. But if more people can read Electro through me, definitely worth it because I also really enjoy it.
Fantastic, yeah. No, it's great to have another person on board as a reader, so that makes us successful. And it's a two-way street, it's a two-way conversation, and we sort of pollinate each other through the activities we do and grow awareness around the industry. We're coming up towards the end of the forum. What I wanted to do was go through each of our influencers now and just ask them about, and I'm going to start with DIY Chris, to give us an example of a recent collaboration or a good collaboration in your eyes. What did you do and what made it work well?
Okay, before answering to this about Elector, during the past 2 days, I've been collecting for how long people are buying Elector magazine. The record is since 1975. I have already someone who's buying Elector since 1975, all editions. Someone since 1983. So yeah, you do have like very loyal followers, and it's very cool. Okay, so about the collaboration, I believe that it's very important to every maker to have like sponsors and partners in order to push what he's doing forward. Because without that, it's gonna be complicated. And honestly, I've been a lonely maker for a while. It's boring, and it's always like watching people from behind the screen. And by the way, this is my first time opportunity to get in a trade fair, and I'm extremely happy. And thanks, Electro, for all of this and for making this happen. And truly, collaborators, it depends for sure for what they are asking from you. But after all, they are helping you, so you can help them. Okay. Yeah. So, taking the life of a maker from a different angle, is all what we do is going hard and making it look easy. So that's motivational for the people to see it from a different angle and take the courage to go and try it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's my mainly number one job from all what I'm posting. And if I don't get the necessary resource it's gonna be very complicated, so maybe I can give up. So these resources is gonna be from myself or from the sponsors or collaborators.
Yeah.
And really, I had many partners across the years. I shared so many good stories. Some of them are already considered as family, not only sponsors, truly. Because especially people from China, honestly, they're always supportive and generous. And I'm happy to get engaged with many of them. So yeah, it really helps. Yeah.
Super, thanks very much. So coming to Max Imagination, you've done a few projects for people. What's been sticks in your mind?
Indeed, I have. The one that comes to the top of my mind is that little FPV RC Hot Wheels car I built. Essentially, I turned my childhood dream into reality. It took this 1/64 scale car and just cram-packed it with electronics and with mechanisms and stuff. And the one component that shines the most is the Seed Studio's Xiao. It's a Xiao ESP32 camera. So it's a development board, very fast development board with a camera on board it. And anyway, with this car you can control with a mobile device and then see what the car sees because it's got a live view camera. And that was the perfect use of that little development board because it sits right on top of the car. It's like the one of the camera that pokes right up. And that camera, that was a product that was able to smoothly integrate because it was highly relevant. It was a part of the project, and it was a process. It was a step in the process to building that project. And the Seed Studio, they were one of my clients, so essentially that has helped them a lot by having my board in my project. Their board in my project, let me correct myself. Yes, so it's worked out great. And I even had a giveaway of 5 of those little camera development boards, which has attracted even more people to want to watch the video and get their own board. So it has helped boost the video and boost the company. And it helped both me and Seed Studio a lot with that project video out.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we're looking for. We're looking for that collaboration that really drives interest and actually results in an action as well, as you were saying, so people actually come along and invest in getting a camera as well. Just going to go over to Great Scott as well. What's been your sort of highlight project and collaboration?
In collaboration, I would say what I think is really interesting is I did that last year I started it. I actually now decided to make it a series that I will continue throughout the years. We did episode 2. It's not really an everyday problem for normal people, but for electrical engineers and electronic enthusiasts, I think it's sometimes really hard to find the fitting IC for your application. Like there are so many ICs coming out, the semiconductor industry is sometimes going crazy, and technology is constantly evolving. So as an engineer, to have an overview of what is out there, what you can use for your project, it's not hard to, it's very hard to find the right thing. So I started with Mauser actually, a small series in which I explore future tech, I call it. Basically cool dev boards which come with new functionality you might not have seen yet. I think last year I did a Bluetooth positioning system. Basically you have a big antenna and then you have a Bluetooth tag, and it basically can tell you exactly where the tag is positioned in space. So for the next industry where everything is automated, that is something that could be used. I definitely had fun with that. Of course, that's a bit more definitely technical, detailed, so not for the average beginner, but I really had fun with that series. I will continue it. Other examples, interesting current sensors. There was a board with heart monitoring, which I never tried before, really awesomely made, with haptic feedback, which I'm currently a bit going crazy with. I wanted to integrate that in another project. Didn't really work out, but haptic feedback, I'm really into that. I hope it becomes more popular in the future for all sorts of things. So yeah, definitely a highlight this year, and hopefully the next one as well.
So for those of you in B2B marketing teams, I think one of the things we can do is quickly summarize what all of these influencers and content creators are saying. These are the same people that you are selling to in one form or another. They're tackling the same problems on a daily basis. They're highlighting those, but through their passion and their ability to create engaging content, they're able to talk back to that community and that creates a perfect channel for you to work and collaborate with them and show how your technologies, how your components, how your software, how your services can actually then benefit the engineers who trust them and believe in what they do, and use them as a resource to find out what's going on in our fantastic industry for the 51 weeks that Electronica doesn't happen, which is actually twice that because it's only every 2 years. So I'm going to take one last question to Simon here. Bearing in mind all the work you've done with influencers and content creators over the years, what's your 1 or 2 tips for our audience here to take away to consider what's the best way to come and engage with these creators here?
For the companies new to influencer marketing, in electronics especially, my main advice would be to take time looking for the right influencers that are aligned well with your brand or company values, and look for creators that has engaging content, valuable content, and can be educational or make people learn from it. And to convey your company information in to make it softer advertisement on the video, and to learn from each collaboration and to modify your strategy accordingly. Yeah.
Yep. No, I think it's the most important thing. It's not going to work necessarily first time, but once you've done it once, you can look at it and refine it and optimize it and keep it going. So to summarize what we've heard today before we come to you for your questions, B2B influencers, content creators, they're a powerful method of gaining access to niche audiences. Your niche audiences are already walking these halls. They go to other exhibitions as well. And these people are generating content online and on channels and social media platforms where today's engineers and future engineers are on the way. If you want to find these sort of people, it can be quite difficult if you're not already using those social media platforms. So a good thing is to maybe talk to your engineering teams, ask the students at university that you may be engaged with, search online is also an option, but also come to media organizations like Elector that already have those relationships, and we're able to then advise you as to where to go and what to do. Engagement is much more important than follower numbers. Yeah, we talk about nano influencers, probably pico and micro and femto influencers as well. We don't need somebody necessarily with a million followers, of which only 2 or 3 bother to watch. What's really important is the engagement. We want people there that really take an interest in what's going on, respond to what they see, and interact, leave posts and comments. And so engagement is also a really important aspect of the influencers and content makers you look at to see how things are going. Definitely, as Simon was saying, it's not going to work first time. You're going to have to trial this, figure out what works and refine it. And alignment with your brand, really, really important. On the one side, you want to make sure your branding is there, that your messaging comes across. That's all fine and good, but at the same time, you don't want to constrain the creator so that they start to look a little bit odd and strange in front of their audience. They still need to be themselves. They still need to be authentic, because that's what got them their engaged audience in the first place. So I hope we've filled you with some ideas, some background, some guidance. We're all here on the stage now. We're standing at the Elector stand as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to your question to me about the viewers. And since this is a B2B forum, you might be wondering, well, the viewer, that's the consumer. Well, you have to remember that someone who's interested in soldering together a FPV drone, what career are they going to gravitate towards? So these are actually decision makers in industry who watch for fun sometimes, but after shows that I've done with these guys, I get people reaching out to me on LinkedIn saying what a great show that was, and they haven't enjoyed something like that in years. So it is a B2B forum, even though it may not seem like it because we're having too much fun.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, fun, we're still allowed to have fun.
Yeah, to add to that, I actually, the last 3 days I was here, I talked with lots of my viewers actually who came by, and they didn't only want to take a picture, but they also told me about their story in electronics. So there were people who I reached 7-8 years ago, started with my videos, got into electronics. One of them, don't want to name any names, He used my videos as a baseline basically to develop a product with easy EDA, then ordered the PCBs from my PCB manufacturer that I recommend, and now he's selling a product. He's making a living out of it, basically turned into a business through the videos. So I think, yeah, you can go that step from individual private person to business with those videos, and I think that's amazing, not only for the business itself, but for the person who really got there and now makes a happy living.
Yeah. Well, I think we've all got some nice ideas to take home and some things to discuss in the team on Monday morning next week after we've all put our feet up and relaxed our legs from a week of walking around 18 halls. Thank you ever so much for your time and taking time out of your busy schedules to come and listen to us talk about smart influencer marketing. We've been Elector. I'm Stuart Cording, the electronics reporter. Feel free to search for us online. We're on social media. I'm mostly on LinkedIn. Follow us, get in contact with us, talk to us. We're all here. Yeah, and just as a reminder, if you missed all the names, we have DIY guy Chris, Max Imagination. We have Brian Tristam Williams from Elector. We have Great Scott and Simon Gow from PCBWay, who has also sponsored this session. So thanks ever so much. There's links upstairs, and feel free to click, follow, like, and share. Thank you.